Let's podcast alongside Joe Giglio. I'm Joe Ovias inside Eford Studios in downtown Raleigh, thanks to Empire Properties and thanks to Copiers Plus. Check them out online at copiers-plus.com. You might need to update your filing system, how you handle your documents. For instance, Giglio should probably contact Drew and the crew over at Copiers Plus once again because he showed me a yellow pad from 2010, and I thought to myself, Joe, why do you still have yellow pads from 2010? You should have that in the cloud.
I should.
So it's not just lying around. Like, where is my ACC basketball fantasy draft big board from 2000?
I found it.
If it was in the cloud, you could have found it easily.
Yeah.
Instead of searching for it in a pile of yellow pads.
Yeah.
Anyway, go check them out. Copiers-plus.com. The sacrifice continues to provide, Joe. And 2024 turns out to be the year of the Wolfpack. This is from the Wolfpack. They put a little graphic up and everything. NC State is the third school ever to make a bowl game, make the men's Final Four, the women's Final Four, and now the College World Series. Although, as my guy, if you're watching on YouTube, our guy Brian Shaw over at Nice Price Books points out, you forgot Cooper's Hill cheese rolling champion. Shout out to Abby Lampy, who we talked to in a previous episode of Ovias and Giglio. And look, I could throw out the bowl game thing if we want to be.
Please do.
I was going to say, we could throw that out because it's like, I get it.
Don't devalue these other accomplishments.
That Wolfpacker graphic, which I know what they're trying to do, but essentially, remember that Penn State tweet with the graphic? Every year in the Super Bowl has featured a Penn State player. Except 3. So, like, the bowl game, and I'm like, oh, wow, everything's coming up Wolfpack. Except for the Pop-Tarts Bowl, but, we don't need to talk about that sort of thing. No, but all jokes aside, I don't know if NC State fans know what the hell to do in 2024.
Yeah.
Success, Joe.
It is the year of the Wolfpack. Getting to your point, we did a curse reverse ceremony that included an actual visit from Elliot Avent, who... for obvious reasons, did not want to be on camera.
No, but he did provide a key piece of thing that we had to burn.
He was excited when we did burn the personal fouls jacket from the book from Peter Golenbach. He was personally excited about that. Mm-hmm. And then he did. He gave us a box score from the last game from the 21 College World Series. So let's start with baseball before I get super emotional here, okay? NC State now is 9-5 against the top 10 teams in the RPI. That's Georgia, UNC, Florida State, Clemson, Virginia. Mm-hmm. They beat all of those teams in a 3-game series, except Florida State. They only played 2 games against Florida State. They split with them. You'll note UNC, Florida State, and Virginia are in the College World Series with NC State. Yeah. Clemson in the Super Regional. Obviously, Georgia was in the Super Regional as well. This is now their 3rd time under Elliot Avent to baseball's equivalent of the Final Four. Mm-hmm. And I still remember in 2013, the first time that they went, and they played Rice in this long marathon game. Okay.
Now I remember.
There was a rain delay and they hadn't been since 67. And there was this whole thing. And I remember being on the concourse during the rain delay, and Chris Corciani comes up to me and he goes, "We need something new to celebrate. Use your brain here a little bit." That's 2013 that Corch is sitting here saying, we desperately need something besides 74 and 83 to celebrate. We need Elliot to get there. Mm-hmm. And sure enough, he gets there, provides a great moment for the school in 2013, goes again in 21. We can talk about that in a little bit. And now here he is for the 3rd time in 24.
We don't have to.
Last night, no, we don't have to really get it. But
anyway,
I'll give you one good point from there.
Okay.
So this team, now I mentioned their success against the top 10. On April 7th, after they lost to Louisville, they're 18-11. They went 3-6 in midweek games this year. They could not. The teams they beat during the midweek were Norfolk and Queens College.
Yeah.
Campbell's getting over on them. UNC Wilmington's getting over on them. ECU twice gets over on them. So they struggled during these midweek games, in part because their pitching wasn't as deep as it needed to be. But since losing that sweep, they went 20-10, beating those aforementioned teams that I had mentioned in series. And now you take your hat off to NC State and Jacob Duden in particular. Okay. And I want to make a bigger point here about Jacob Duden. 5th inning, bases loaded, the best hitter in college baseball. 36 home runs, hitting .430. Mm-hmm. Not on the weekend, not in the NCAA tournament, not in SEC play, on the whole season, hitting .400 with 36 home runs. What does he do with the bases loaded? Jacob Duden comes in and strikes him out, gets out of the inning. And of course, NC State goes on and holds on from there. There's Eli Serrano. There's all kinds of hitting stars from this games that we can bring out. But Duden, the freshman coming in and striking out Charlie Condon in that moment was the game. That was the part of, that was it. That was the moment that you got to look at and go, you're going to be okay.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I saw Elliot on Monday of last week.
Okay.
I went over there to see him, check in on him. And I said to him, I guess I'm going to do the thing you love the most. I'm going to question your strategy. I go, do me a favor. The next time somebody's molten hot, can you not pitch to them? And then he goes, and he points over to Chris Hart. He goes, you sound like Hart. He wants me to walk Charlie Condon every time he comes up to the plate. He goes, I'm not putting the winning run on plate. We're going to pitch to guys. I'm going to believe in my guys. Mm-hmm. So I had to text Elliot this morning and say, you were right.
Oh, you man. Were right. That's like the worst thing you ever could do.
You got to pitch to your guys, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's the baseball sense. This team, Jacob Cozart, is a guy who's had an unbelievable season. Pennington, the guy at first base, was in the D2 World Series in Cary a couple of years ago. Mm-hmm. Butterworth, that shortstop, the transfer from Western Carolina, and of course, Amac had a big home run late in this game. Alec Makarevich, the transfer from ECU.
It gave him the buffer runs that they needed.
Yeah. That's the baseball side of this, okay?
Yeah.
So I get it. Carolina's there, Virginia's there, and now State's there. I get it.
There's a baseball side to this. I'm sure Greg Sankey somewhere is trying to come up with, I know what we can do to distract from the ACC. Let's say the ACC gets over on the SEC in the College World Series. Mm-hmm. If Greg Sankey even cares about the College World Series.
No, they care about baseball.
I guess they care about baseball. But if the ACC gets over on them, I'm guessing at that point, to distract from that, they'll come up with, we finally found a way to make a 9th conference game work.
Right.
And distract everybody.
Or 5 automatic bids.
Sure. Well, that's how we can take away some shine from the ACC. Yeah, but you talk about the non-baseball things, and my first thought, I'll reference something that I said on Friday to our guy Roddy Jones on SiriusXM, and the curiosity that I had about NC State. There's them individually as a program, and Elliott Avent trying to get through, and 2021, and trying to have some sort of vengeance for that, or make good on what happened in 2021. But I did say, to your point about Chris Corchiani, I always felt that Elliott Avent had way too much pressure on him as a program to get like Chris Corchiani said, we need something new to celebrate, right? And I always felt like, yeah, I get that, but baseball's not really what you want. We saw how it came out with this basketball run that just took place to the Final Four. And I was curious, now that weight is off, okay, how does not having this external pressure of please, we have
nothing else.
We have nothing else. And of all the guys, Avent is the one who understands.
Oh, he is the biggest NC State fan there is. He
feels it so deep that you could probably tell that, yeah, man, I understand where this external pressure is coming from. And I think that probably explains his ESPN post-game interview, which I don't have access to. I don't know where it is. He did kind of reference it in the proper NCAA postgame, but he didn't go all in like he did, where he talked about the spirit of Jimmy V, and it's his guy. He was set up for this, and he just went off. He took off like a rocket in explaining what he was talking about.
So full context. So Elliott, his freshman year is 1975. Mm-hmm. So NC State had just won the national championship in basketball. David Thompson's a senior. So he'll always be this huge. We've talked about this. Like when I was at NC State, they were not good at anything, right? So you don't have this emotional attachment like some people do. Like you could talk to any number of Carolina grads in the journalism business, and they're like, "Oh yeah, my sophomore year we won the national championship.
There's this 4-year cycle.
My junior year we won the national championship." And you're just sitting here going, "Well, this is why you have an affinity for Carolina in a different way than maybe me or you do for the success that our teams had while we were at school." But Elliott is one of those people while he was in school. Okay. Then when he came back and he worked for Sam Esposito, when I say work, he was a gopher. Okay. He sat in the back of the room. All right. Espo, who was the baseball coach, was really Jim Valvano's consigliere. Okay. So try to understand that. So you had this room where Valvano would go after basketball games with Espo, with George Tarantini, with Bob Guzzo, and they would basically brainstorm what V was going to do next, like the triangle and twos and the double teams and the the free throw, like who are we going to foul when? All of that was brainstorming by V that was in this room with Espo as his consigliere. And this is where Elliott really learned. This was his incubator at NC State back in the 80s. Okay, so when he talks about V, this isn't somebody saying, "Oh, I saw the video." No,
he
this
lived
is someone who was friends with. Well, as he'll tell you, he was the gopher, right?
Sure.
But he did develop a true friendship with my mentor, George Tarantini. Okay, and George is right here. That same card is in. If you go into Elliott's locker room, that same card is in Elliott's locker room, and I'll end on that story. But I'm going to tell you who Elliott is. I'm going to tell you the person who Elliott Avent is. Here's number one. The day we get fired, one person actually calls me and says, we're going. So Elliott Avent is a big part of why OG Media exists, right? I'm going to tell you. We get fired. He calls me. I'm taking you to breakfast tomorrow.
Yeah.
Okay. We go to breakfast tomorrow. And he goes, okay, this sucks, right? This sucks. He goes, but here's what I want you to do. You take a day, you take the weekend, and then next week you figure out what the fuck you're going to do with your life. Because you got 2 kids and you got to show your 2 kids that when bad things happen to you, you get back on the horse and you get to work. So he goes, I don't know what you're going to do. He goes, but you figure it out. Take the day, take the weekend, you figure it out. 6 days later, OG Media LLC was formed. Okay. That's part of who Elliott Avent is. You look in the dugout and you see jerseys in the dugout.
Yeah, the jerseys are something that people have been trying to figure out, but explain the jerseys.
So there's usually only one jersey, and that's number 26. That's Chris Combs, who lost his life to ALS. Chris Combs was on Elliott Avent's first team my senior year, 1997, when Elliott was hired at NC State. Chris Combs helped him make the NCAA tournament. Chris Combs was a larger-than-life figure, local here from Broughton, whose family is woven throughout the fabric of Wolfpack lore.
It's not you can't go to an NC State event without seeing Francis. I mean,
correct.
He's always there. Francis is one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet.
So when Chris lost his life, Elliott decided Chris would always be with him. And that's why you see that number 26 jersey wherever they go. Now, they've had some players who have been injured this year who haven't been able to help them in the way that they would have wanted on the field. So Elliott puts their jerseys up in the dugout as well. That's the kind of person that Elliott Avent is. Okay. Here, now let's get back to one part about 21 that I always say to Elliott and I say to other people. Jackson Lucas is a freshman on NC State's baseball team. And I said, if you ever need to know who Elliott Avent is, look at the end of the bench. One of their assistants, one of their graduate assistants, his name is JT Jarrett. That name may be familiar to you. JT Jarrett was actually the one in Omaha who was the first to come to test positive for COVID. He was actually sick. And if you go back and remember, Elliott says after one of the games, JT's been fighting it. He's been fighting a cough. He's not feeling great.
Yeah.
And then the next game, he's one of the players who tests positive and can't play. Okay. There's a cynic in me that says that's patient 0. Okay. Whether that's fair or not, you can trace it back to saying this calamitous disaster that happened to NC State in 21 can be traced to this one person. Okay. Now, again, that may not be the most fair thing in the world to say.
It's the same thing we could say about Kay's grandkid at the ACC tournament, right? I mean, I don't know if it was patient 0, but
we may not be the most fair thing in the world to say, but it stands to reason that Elliott Avent, who's been pursuing this holy grail his whole life, would look at that person and go, why would you ever want to see that person again, let alone put them on your staff? Now add this element. JT Jarrett isn't just some walk-on schlub from around the corner. His dad is Link Jarrett. His dad is the coach at Florida State. His dad at the time was the coach at Notre Dame. So why would you help somebody who is a part of the worst part of your career? Because that's the kind of person that he is. He doesn't blame him. He wants to help him. That's the kind of person that he is. He doesn't turn his back on people, even if you want to take the worst case scenario of all of that. Now, let's get to 2 more things. NC State, Jacob Kozart is this fantastic catcher. I mentioned that he had an unbelievable weekend. He might win the Buster Posey Award for the number 1 top catcher in college baseball. They had lost Cannon Peoples, who was the next Tommy White. He was a catcher. Right. He was recruited to replace Jacob Kozart in your normal lineage of college baseball, old college rules, right? Well, Tennessee came along and offered Cannon Peoples a bunch of money. So Cannon Peoples was like, love you mean it, but like just like Tommy White, love you mean it, but I have this opportunity to go make a bunch of money. Okay.
Just like A-Mac coming over to NC State.
So now Jacob Cozart is in line. And Elliot's like, okay, it's fine. I've got Jacob Cozart. Well, Virginia, then where he's from, comes in and goes, hey, Jacob Cozart, I would really like for you to come play for us. And Jacob Cozart, again, is like, man, now keep in mind, Elliot is super old school. All of these coaches who have retired and left and they don't want to deal with NIL and all that. Elliot's pretty close in those lines. All right. But now faced with the possibility of losing not only Peoples, but Cozart, Elliot goes, okay, I got to do something. So he goes to his guy. And I'm speaking a little bit out of school here, but Derek Close is somebody who his name is on the practice facility at the football building. Derek Close is also somebody who used to be a minority owner of the Carolina Panthers. Derek Close is also somebody, when my kids were in the hospital, gave us the tickets to that club to go to see the Panthers and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Second row, the Club 53, the whole thing. Okay, so Derek Close is one of the all-timers, all right? So Elliot goes to Derek Close and said, listen, man, I don't really believe in this NIL stuff, but I can't lose Peebles and Cozart. Long story short, Close ends up helping out in the NIL, and they're able to keep Cozart, and you see the season that Cozart happened. Here's the guy who Elliot Avon is, though. There's another player on the team. There's another catcher. He's a walk-on. His parents live an hour away. So the kid would be at practice in the morning for, they have to go to do the stretch and the workouts and all this other stuff. Everyone else goes back to the dorm. Elliot's looking over at this kid like, why are you still here? Like he's studying in the locker room. What are you doing? Well, coach, I don't have a dorm. I don't have somewhere to live. I got to go to class after this. Then we have practice after the class. So I'm not going to go drive back to my parents' house.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do all this driving. It's just not convenient. This is a kid who's never going to contribute on the field, who's ever going to help him. Do you know who Elliot gave NIL money to help in order to find somewhere to live on campus for this season? That walk-on. That's who Elliot Avon is. And now, finally, after the infamous snake bite, okay? So that season ends. They have one of their typical exits from the NCAA tournament.
What year was the snake bite again?
16. It was the Coastal Carolina. He's ejected and he's
he was recovering
literally
from a
snake bitten, and Coastal Carolina ends up going on and winning the College World Series.
Yeah.
So George Tarantini and Elliot Avon had a bond, a friendship, and a true love for each other. In only a way that coaches can, because as Elliot has told me many, many times, the reason that he befriends so many people, football coaches, basketball coaches at NC State, is because you live this lonely existence where you feel like there's no one you can talk to and no one understands. Losing to TCU when you have an 8-1 lead, losing to Coastal Carolina because the umpire refuses to call the game because of the rain, or because you're down to your third strike and somebody drops the ball. Like, he's like, only other coaches truly understand that. So after that season ends, George, me, Paige Marsh, who's George's wife, we go and we meet Elliot at Mitch's. And you've had the Elliot experience at Mitch's before.
Oh, yeah.
Now you have to add the George experience, because George and Mitch George was running this thing in the 80s. So he knew Mitch very well. And anytime we went there, we did very well. Okay.
When Avon showed up that one time when we were at because Mitch's had just reopened.
Yes.
Yeah. They had just gone through the whole thing. They had reopened, new menu, all that stuff. Avon shows up, is a whirlwind, a tornado, drops a bunch of cash on the table, and then leaves. Gotta go. I'm like, okay, cool.
Paid for his gumbo, and he was on his way.
He paid for more than his gumbo.
Yeah. So we're at now. All these things happen, and George Tarantini, Catholic, and also New V, big believer, and you get in the universe what you get out of the universe what you put in. Okay. And George also was a world traveler and brought back from Italy. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't, a bracelet for Elliot. So I'm sitting there and he goes, Elliot. And George had this accent that was thicker than anybody else. Elliot, this bracelet, I'm telling you, you are going to win the national championship. I don't know when, but I know that you will. And I know this bracelet will be there with you when you do. And if you look on his wrist, you'll see the red bracelet that George gave him that day. So I couldn't be happier for Elliott today to see him back. And yes, this team deserves their own success. And yes, we probably don't need to relitigate 21. But I would say that this win or lose this week, next week in Omaha, what an ending for an outstanding career for someone who has poured so much into one school. Elliott Avent.
Ending? Is he retiring?
Elliott Avent is not perfect, but he is perfect for NC State.
Are you giving away the game? Is he retiring after this?
I don't know what he wants to do, but I know, in my heart, I know in 21, I think he would have retired in 21. Given a normal ending, I think he would have retired in 21.
Sense. That makes sense.
He does have another year on his contract, but I would just say to you that this is more in line of how he wants to see it. And again, I just told you, who did he give? Yes, he gave money to the star catcher, but he figured out a way to help the walk-on.
Yeah.
That's who Elliott is.
Yeah.
That's who Elliott is.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. We'll see how it all plays out this week. I would be surprised because Avent's still a relatively young guy in the grand scheme of things. If he would walk away, but you know what? Everybody's on their own path. Maybe he's in line for the Lakers job.
It's open.
I don't know. It's clearly open after Dan Hurley made us look good, which we will talk about a little bit later on. Let's get into some housekeeping, shall we?
Housekeeping.
It is brought to you by Enovana. Check them out online, enovana.com. Green cleaning solutions.
If you have messes at your mansion or trash in your cabana, get it green clean with Enovana.
They will be at the house today. Not every day.
Isn't every other week already?
It's every other week, man. It's funny how time flies like that. If I could go full, if I can go Tears for Fears there. Funny how time flies. Anyway, we've got the podcast festival that's coming your way. This will be August 24th at the Rialto. We moved some more tickets yesterday. We keep moving tickets every day, man. Going fast. Act now before they're all gone. As Spencer Hall of the Shutdown Fullcast pointed out on Twitter yesterday, the whole ass Shutdown Fullcast will be live at Rialto with Hand of the Dirt and us. You should buy tickets. They're on sale now. I thought of this promotional tweet myself with a link to it. Ryan Nanny also pointing out, DM2, every day should be Saturday. We should remind people that tickets are on sale. Oh, wait, this got out publicly. So they're all having a good time. That's the kind of fun and frivolity the Shutdown Fullcast has. And it's coming to the Rialto, August 24th. Go to the Rialto website and go to eTix, and you can buy your tickets today. It's all thanks to Breeze Through. They're the presenting sponsor of our podcast festival. Home Field is going to have the official hoodie of the podcast festival. I've gotten a look at it. It's very, very cool. You will have access to OG hats.
Okay.
Put in the order today.
I like that phrasing. I like that.
Access to OG hats.
To your IRS, which I paid you yesterday, our quarterly taxes.
Go to breezethrough.com. Save money when you buy gas at the Breeze Through locations across the triangle, across the state. Hey, man, they got everything you need. You're going out to the beach, going out to the mountains. Stock up while you're at Breeze Through. Again, we thank them for sponsoring the podcast festival. We're going to be at Longleaf on Thursday. LongleafSwine.com. 1 o'clock live show. 1 o'clock, not our normal 2 o'clock, so we can accommodate for lunch. So head on over to Longleaf. We're going to be hanging out from 1 o'clock. You can watch Joe sweat every golf bet he's ever made while we are at Longleaf. It'll be a good old time. Big thanks to Whitaker and Hamer for sponsoring Ovias and Gilio. Check them out online at wh.lawyer. Again, that's wh.lawyer, attorneys and counselors at law. And, of course, Nature's Relief. I have not cracked open the Keef soda you brought me, 10 milligrams. I might do that tomorrow.
Ooh.
I don't know if I'm quite in the mood today to be drinking a soda at 9:35 in the morning, but we'll see. I wonder what happens if I put the dark arts in it. A little bourbon and Coke.
Beyond my levels.
Little bourbon and Coke. See what happens. I mean, hell, maybe I save that for like a true live show here.
Let's
should I ask Nature's Relief?
I was gonna say let's be slightly responsible here and let's ask Nature's Relief if that's something that can be mixed.
Again, that sounds like a silly question, but honestly, that's what Nature's Relief is all about. It's all about education, understanding what you are putting into your body. And Nature's Relief Hemp Store has all sorts of options. We're talking edibles, we're talking pre-rolls, we're talking CBD. There's any number of things that you can do, and they can educate you on all that. You can put the kernel and Keef.
I mean, if we're ever going to celebrate my guys.
Oh, you're going to crack open the kernel now?
We're ever going to celebrate my
all
guys.
Right. Might as well crack open the kernel now. Maybe Chip Patterson's going to want a piece of that. Head on over to naturesreliefhempstore.com. Hanging out with us in studio right now from CBS Sports. He is Chip Patterson. Joe's in a celebratory mood. Do you want to pour one out with us? A little kernel?
Are you taking part?
Yeah. Hold on a second. Let me grab. Since it has been 2024 has been the year of the Wolfpack, I guess I'll continue with the 1973 Wolfpack ACC Champions bourbon glass that I've been using.
Oh, this is the year that someone said was actually better than 24 because they won football, baseball, basketball in 73. But I had to point out that there were only 7 ACC teams back then.
So well,
and maybe people didn't exactly care as much about baseball and
maybe
football
not.
back then.
Maybe not.
Does
maybe
Pop-Tart Bowl participation trophy add to like the because it's an iconic game. That game, listen, of all of the 2023-2024 bowl season, if you ask me to name 5 games that I will remember, the Pop-Tarts Bowl is among them.
It's certainly one of them. I do feel like that's that
I feel like I have to drink this because you're going to give it away.
What, the kernel?
Yeah.
No, we specifically did not give that kernel away. It's the straight rye. This is my favorite version of the kernel.
Can I cheers to you guys? I wanted to make your birthday celebration and I was out of town.
I know you were out of town.
I texted you. So cheers.
Cheers, man. Cheers. So now the part of the reason why I'm glad that Joe's week is getting off to a great start. Shout out to Crank Arm. Because this is also kind of a rough week for Joe. And I texted you as like Gilio needs a friend.
Yeah.
It's US Open week. He's dealing with me.
That is so stupid smooth.
Right? The Colonel?
Why?
How? It's super special, man.
They're good at what they do.
Yeah, really good. Really good. Yeah, so I'm like, oh man, Joe needs a friend this week, man. So I thought, I know. Let me text Village of Pinehurst expert, senior correspondent, Chip Patterson.
That's right.
So here he is, hanging out with us to talk some golf.
Listen, I just, and I mentioned this, I hope that you do not take your anger on the Village, because I heard some of that slander, a little bit late last week.
For those who are like, what the hell is going on? We didn't get credentialed.
Right.
And the reason why we didn't get credentialed, and
don't know the story. So don't do that.
I know the story.
No, you don't.
I do know the story.
Okay.
The story is the US Open thinks we're not a media outlet, which is hilarious, but that's neither here nor there. But we're not there. It's fine. We'll get over it.
There's another part of the story. The person who never makes plans actually made a plan to be there.
And then
got piped. So that is a bigger part of it.
I know.
But the good, hardworking people of Moore County, don't take it out on them. Just because the Tufts family brought all of these stones from New England to establish a village back in the late 1800s, don't take it out on them.
Oh boy.
What's even the point of the US Open when we all know Scotty Scheffler is going to win it?
I like the way that Joe put it, where he said he's either made things incredible for golf gambling or awful for golf gambling because of the way he's messed up the prices. You were spot on with that analysis. But that is the best way to go into this is, do you think that Scotty Scheffler, whose short game is overlooked and underrated and really, really good, do you think that he's going to get it done? Well, then buy now, because it ain't going to get better than plus 300 or plus 320.
It's plus 3 right now.
Are we ready to do this? Go ahead. You know what? Let's do this. I have opened the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Right now, Scotty Scheffler is plus 300 to win.
Right.
Minus 125 in the top 5, minus 250 in the top 10. Xander Schauffele is your next best odds at plus 1,000 to win, plus 225 top 5, plus 110 for top 10.
But let's keep going. Give me the next couple names and prices.
You got Rory at plus 1,100. You got Colin Morikawa.
Hey, now we're
plus
talking
1,400.
somebody who can hit the ball high. Put a little spin on it. Maybe
Victor Hovland is plus 2,000.
that guy's short game is going to get.
Did you see Bryson DeChambeau yesterday?
I did.
Did you talk to Bryson at all?
No, I didn't coach him.
He's plus 2,000 because if you had coached him up, I bet the odds would have dropped a little bit.
Yeah, they would have known.
Brooks Koepka is also plus 2,000. John Rahm is plus 2,500. I mean, these are some like legitimate names here
with huge prices,
huge things,
which is why it's really fun to be like, okay, if not Scotty, and then you've also got the propositions that are winner without Scotty Scheffler or winner without Scotty and Rory, and that's the one. If I can find the grouping of Scotty and somebody else that I don't think is going to win, then you're going to be able to jump in and get a good price.
I took. My new favorite bet is top Euro.
Top Euro.
No. You know
top Euro.
Do you know what mine is? Favorite Nordic. It's just it is just a Ludwig v. Victor Hovland every single time.
All right, let's completely nerd out here.
All right.
Because right now, Ludwig Oberg is plus money to be top debutant. Do you want me to give you the names of the other top debutants? Other debutantes?
Hold on. There's did Stewart who's the AM who's really good? Was he already in it last year? You can't bet on him. No AMs are in the betting markets.
Yeah. Listen, sir. I mean, this is one of those where I'm sitting here going, why is this Nikolai Hogarth, who is very good, is the other one. But like, why would Oberg be plus money in that grouping? It makes no sense. It's one of those bets where you're like, they don't give away money. Like
no, Vegas doesn't do that.
Yeah, but I also,
what's the problem here?
I also spent years with two golfers, Hideki and Xander, where I just looked at them and I'm like, the talent is too good. Yeah. And you just kept investing. And when it finally cashed, was it profitable? No. Was it an incredible ride? Yes. Entertainment only.
So Ludwig Oberg plus 140 top debutant, Højgaard plus 1,000. My boy, my spirit animal, Harry Higgs plus 1,400. Justin Lauer plus 1,800. Like
Higgs has been cooking on the Corn Ferry Tour.
I know.
Playing with a lot of confidence.
But Chip, if I read you these names, you'd be like, why on he should if Scotty's plus 300 to win the whole tournament, Oberg should be like minus 180, 190 to be the top debutant.
So I think Ludwig Oberg suffers from the Cam Smith school of not giving an Fs.
Yeah.
Like it is the advantage in golf that you don't get in your head and get too hot.
Right.
But not caring also cuts the other way because you're like, all right, well, I hit it all the way out of bounds. That's okay. No big deal.
So real quick, download the DraftKings Sportsbook app if you haven't already. I mean, folks, you're just missing out on key information here. New customers who download
it right now.
The DraftKings Sportsbook app, use that promo code OG24. You'll get $150 in bonus bets when you bet $5 only on DraftKings. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 8777-185543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov. 21 plus. North Carolina only. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. Deposit and eligibility restrictions apply. Terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/basketball terms, as they are an official betting partner of the NBA. Although I don't know if I want to take your advice, Joe, because last night we were at Crank Arm. They were doing a Thrive and Revive seminar about downtown Raleigh. And above the bar, they've got TVs at Crank Arm, and they put NC State, Georgia on TV, and there's NC State in the digital camo. And Joe, I'm not making this up. Joe immediately opens up the DraftKings Sportsbook app because
Georgia was wearing black. I didn't bet on them. I didn't bet on that game. Come on.
Okay.
I would not fade it.
Okay. All I know is that you saw black on Georgia. You're like, damn.
I ended up, you know what I ended up doing? Like, if more people cared about the WNBA and rather than just talking about it, you could make a mint fading the Indiana Fever this year. A mint.
Yeah.
The live number was minus 13 last night.
See, I've been more going for there's
they got smoked.
The New York Liberty. So what I do is I go for the New York Liberty point guards, like everybody other than Sabrina. all the
This is why I love
non-scores.
Chip, by the way.
You get like over
Oh,
over
you're-
3.5 assists.
You're taking base at WNBA bets? Oh, I've got individual props, sir. You think you have a problem, Julio?
Well,
Jeez.
it's because there are great offerings like at DraftKings. You get 30% boosts on WNBA bets.
Are you going to Pinehurst?
Oh, I leave tonight. Yeah.
Okay. You gonna be a Stay Ready All-Star?
Give your outfits
I'm
planned.
not
Get your outfit planned?
I don't have my scripting. You know, it's called scripting.
Oh, is that what it's called?
Yeah. They
Script your outfits for the week.
yes.
I do that for the ACC tournament or like ACC kickoff. I'll script out like, all right, what stupid ass vintage shirt am I wearing?
Their sponsors do that.
Yeah,
so
and they'll
that's
script out the
Nike,
week. They're telling
okay.
a story. In Tiger
and,
Red.
and think about what you're going to finish in. All those things.
Right.
You know, like remember Jason Day, Malbon. You know the company.
Oh,
He had that sweater that looked like it was a Marlboro old school like 1970s thing. So to answer your question, I have only on my pack list been like, okay, here's all I need. Like 5 golf shirts, 5 pairs of shorts, and like, I don't know, 5 pairs of shoes because they're all going to be sweaty and dirty and dusty by the end of this. Like I might buy a pair of shoes and then throw them away at the end of this week.
It's interesting. The first time I went to the US, I've been to the US Open at Pinehurst twice out of the 3 times it was there, right? And obviously I'm not going to be going to this iteration of the US Open because I'll be down in Florida, but that's neither here nor there.
Oh, is this Disney?
Is it? Well, Key West first, then Disney.
Okay, gotcha.
Oh, I didn't know there was a Key West run.
Yeah, we're knocking off some national parks.
Look at you being
That's cool.
adulting.
I'm going to show the kids, hey guys, this is the Everglades. There's nothing here. There's a gator, but here's the sign. Check. And then we'll keep it moving. And then we'll get down to Dry Tortugas. Yeah, it's going to be mosquitoes on mosquitoes. And then, we're going to go down to Dry Tortugas. I have never been to Dry Tortugas, even though I lived in Florida. My parents never wanted to do any of that stuff. It was just like, let's just chill, whatever. So we're going to go to Dry Tortugas. But I feel like I saw a convergence point in the PGA Championship at Quail Hollow. That was what, 2017?
Yep, you got it.
Okay, because I remember I did the double. That was the Deshaun Watson debut at Bank of America Stadium in a preseason game.
Ooh,
yeah.
Is that the last August? That would be the 17 would be the last August PGA before it moved into May.
Shout out to Bomani, the Nasty Man. I went and saw the Nasty Man for the first time. It was basically a Clemson home game at Bank of America Stadium for a preseason game. So check that off my list, whatever. You and I were walking around. This is before we started working together. And you and I were walking around the PGA Championship. Some of our conversations were problematic that we don't have to have today. But the one thing that
I don't remember what we're talking about.
Oh, we were talking. Honestly, I think the conversation we were having is like, why would you remarry? Because you were walking around, you could clearly see the trophy wife.
No, like it used to be baseball had the number one following for groupies or women or wags, I guess is the official thing you're supposed to call them.
Yes.
But I do remember we were in the media area and we were like looking at like even Sergio Garcia is like pulling and you're like, and now on the tour
with the money that this
the
money that's coming in?
Now the money, but also like they all look exactly the same. Like we were out at the Corn Ferry event.
There's a factory.
And it was like, here comes 4 people walking up the fairway. You're like, which one's that? Like, I don't know. It's the tall, skinny one. It's like the 6'3", 170-pound one. I'm like, they all look the same.
It's all a factory. But the point that I was making is that we saw a convergence point in 2017 that I'm going to be curious to see what Pinehurst looks like now. That convergence point that I'm talking about is when I went to the U.S. Open, what was it in 14? It was in 09 too, right? Was it 09? 05. Sorry. So
99, 5, and 14.
Okay, so I was 05 and 14. 05 and 14, I remember it distinctly being old. Okay.
Yeah.
When I talk about the Stay Ready All-Stars, I'm talking about olds. And I'm sure there were some metal spikes at the 05.
Yes.
But in 2017, I started to see young.
14.
Yeah.
No,
the PGA Championship.
Yeah.
I started to see young.
Yeah. There's your gambling influence.
And I started to see, we saw people drinking Bud Heavies at 10 o'clock in the morning on a random Friday.
Yep.
And then when we went to the Wyndham, I saw even more of that. Young. that kind of
Do
stuff.
you know what's going to contribute to this?
So I'm going to be really curious to see what the gallery is like at the U.S. Open after what we've seen is this interesting changeover in who that golf audience is, young gamblers.
So the locals call people like me UFOs.
UFOs?
Yeah, like I just come and I hover around for about 5 to 6 times a year, and then I just take off.
Okay.
Okay. And when I learned that, I actually embrace it at this point.
Mm-hmm.
But what Pinehurst has done, and I think it is mostly powered by the resort since the 14 US Open that will lean it more towards what you're talking about, is they have embraced the party.
Okay.
Like when you go out, there's a putting course called Thistle Dew, which just means this'll do. And like Thistle Dew has cup holders on all 18 of the putting holes.
Look, man.
Like everything is like cocktails here. Like come play the cradle, and we've got transfusions on transfusions on transfusions.
Oh, that's your shit, Joe.
So I go out there. I go to like the grounds where the U.S. Open will be held. I don't know, like three, four times a year. I take my son out there. We do the little putting green, and it's just a cocktail party everywhere. And so, like, that is going to be very much at the center of the scene.
Now I know
to what you're
I don't
saying.
like Pinehurst. There's too much similar verbiage to freaking Virginia.
What?
The ground.
You know how much I hate Virginia? Don't you know this?
He said the ground.
When I
You said the ground.
What do you want me to say? The compound, the land. Like we're talking about like we're talking about this big, massive land with lots of different stuff on it. All right, listen.
What you're referencing, I did not realize this was a thing. So the last time I was at Pinehurst was during a Golick and Wingo boondoggle.
Right.
I don't know if y'all remember this, but back when Golick and Wingo was the thing on ESPN radio, they had come up in June with Golick Jr. They had done this thing where like, well, why can't we just call it a work retreat? And they finagled their way onto getting it on Pinehurst number 2. They did the show from the radio station and all that stuff. And then part of the deal was as an affiliate, Adam and I got to go do our show and participate.
Right.
We got a force.
Did listeners go too?
We had a listener. We actually we essentially made a dream come true for a listener and his dad.
That's pretty cool.
And it was a neat experience.
Yeah.
Right. Even somebody as cynical as me considered it a really, really neat experience. And I went out there with like my Wilson kid bag just to make a complete mockery of being on Pinehurst number 2. I think at one point I had a poop emoji golf ball that I did off the first tee. But West Durham, and Adam all had this over-under because we could only play the front 9.
Okay.
And it was like an over-under on me. And the thing about Pinehurst, the one thing I will always say, even Mr. Novice golfer here, that I'll always say about Pinehurst number 2 is that even for somebody like me, the waste areas are actually really easy for me to get out of. I mean I'm used to hitting out of waste areas.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I'm used to hitting out of shit.
Right.
So I'm like, oh, this is perfect. Right? Break out my 5 wood, break out the 9 wood. Man, I'm on in 3. I'm good. It was the putting that was the problem. And that number 9 was like an upside down bowl on a par 3.
Yep.
Oh,
it broke my soul because I thought I was going to be under. Broke my soul. Anyway, as we were doing the show, I noticed that little putting area with the cup holders, and there was like all these corporate retreats that were coming through. Man, people having a good time, and it's just I don't know. I just feel like it's an interesting inflection point with golf, despite all the things that are going on with LIV and what the uncertainty is with the future of golf and everything else. There is a hardcore group of young people that ride for this shit. I don't know if gambling's the reason why, it's just. The youth will have their own imprint on what golf's going to be going forward.
Gambling is a big part of it, but I really do think this. And Brendan from the PGA Tour Superstore said this. He goes, "I'll never be 6'9" like LeBron James. I'll never do what Patrick Mahomes can do on a football field.
You can't hit 100-mile-an-hour fastball.
Yeah, and I can't get out there and be that stay ready all-star. But man, I can flush 1 7-iron per round where I do feel like Scotty Scheffler.
When I played number 2, my approach on 18 did not hold the green, but it rolled close enough off that I was like, okay, I can get up and down for par. I did not, but I at least got that little candy to be able to feel like I could do it.
And that's what I think. And also, like, if you're competitive, like, that's what golf is.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like the ability to go out there, you're playing yourself, you're playing your course, you're playing you're playing your friends. Playing your kid, Jackson kicked my ass last week.
Didn't Ryan Gerard say that when he was talking about? He was like, "I feel like it's less stuffy. I feel like friends of mine growing up that would have never touched a golf club are picking it up. I've got a lot of friends."
Can we hire Chip as our PR person, please? Like
what?
You watch every episode.
No,
and
I listen.
things.
He listens. He's a listener. You gotta remember, podcast is still a thing over something like YouTube.
Podcast people stick together.
Yes, they do.
Well, yeah,
Podcast people do stick
Are you
together.
going to join us at the festival?
and it's
Are you
a
free
really
that day?
and, we'll see. I mean,
It's
What
week
is that?
0.
What is that? We'll see.
I say that all the
Oh,
time.
it's a Saturday. You got to
Yeah.
work.
It's
yeah,
week
there,
0.
there will be some part of the day that I will have to work. I do not know what time of day that is going
I
to
feel
be.
like every time we're at the Rialto, you're at the Rialto. I feel
Right.
like that's a real thing.
Right. And that is something that I will try to make happen.
I think Chip is in the ITB, like the roped off section.
Yeah.
ITB
At the
regulars.
Rialto.
Yeah, at the
Yeah,
Rialto. I
that's
think
true.
I think that's the case. You want to do lightning round?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, let's.
Can I make one thing before you get to the lightning round?
Yes.
So I am under the impression that Kiowa, where Phil won in 21, is going to be what we're close to what we see this week in Pinehurst. Super tough, low scoring, crazy tough, right?
Oh, I mean, what do we have in the 3 years that it's been? There's only 3 under par rounds.
Yeah.
And one of them is Martin Keimer blacking out with the 65, 65s
right.
and just running away.
So
I mean, it's open to any. It is like the Scotty proposition is a bad proposition based on the idea that it's a U.S. Open and that it's at Pinehurst because it's not a short course. Like it does test your short game, but I do think that it's opening the door for someone to just the fluctuations on Sunday could be huge.
if Scotty and/or Bryson DeChambeau pull a Tiger at St. Andrews and put their driver away and win this thing with their irons, I will just salute and say, you are way smarter than people give you credit for. Because I think that might be the actual play this week
Right.
over there. But no, if Kiowa is my comp, because it was super difficult and, Phil won that tournament.
Yeah.
And it was, green around the greens, short game, all these other things. Do you want me to read you some of the names? Now, here's some great moments in Joe gambling history. I just told you Ludwig Oberg was guaranteed plus money. Guaranteed.
That's top debutante.
Up guaranteed. Do you know who finished 4th at Kiowa?
Who?
Harry Higgs.
Well, all right. So I was running the models, and it's like
You were running the models. I'm over here.
Pinehurst #2 tracks based on its profile to like Memorial Park at the Houston Open, and it tracks with like the Fortnite Championship out in California.
Oh,
and you go back, and then I was like, ooh, Tony Finau won one of those.
Tony Finau,
Max
top 10.
Homa won one of those.
The
And
homie's
so
not coming home.
you start to realize that there's not a perfect profile here, and that's one thing that does make it exciting, despite the fact that Scotty Scheffler's where Scotty's at right now is one of the hottest runs that we have seen since Tiger in his prime. And then the thing that is scary about the way that he won this past weekend is that it was the Tiger formula of you don't win it on Sunday, you play defense on Sunday. Yes. You actually win a championship on Thursday and Friday.
See, aren't you glad I brought Chip in?
I am. I'm also looking at this now from 21. Scotty was tied for 8th. Like, I just think tough wins this week. I just think I don't think tough. When I think Scotty, I don't think tough. No, but you're right. His short game is completely underrated.
Did you hear the thing that Ted Scott said? He was he had missed the green, he was off the green, and Ted Scott, who's caddy. Scotty Scheffler's caddy, he says, don't make this shot be the awesome shot. Make the putt be the awesome shot. And that, all right, so the thought is, if you're just trying to be like, I'm going to hit the perfect chip, then you're going to skull it. You're going to, knock it over the green. It's like, no, just get it up there, get it safe, and then put it in the hands of your putter. And it's that, where is the good miss? Where is the bad miss? Scotty's always thinking one step ahead to just be like, I'll take my medicine, give myself a chance, and avoiding those. I mean, you talk about 9. I mean, there are 4 to 5 greens that are impossible. When I played Pinehurst #2, the caddy was laughing at me. Yeah. Like, you're on one side, you chip, rolls over to the other side. Go over to the other side, you chip, rolls over to the other side. He looks around at Kyle Porter and Brendan Porath and Sean Martin. He's like, hey, what's the max here, boys? When is he picking up?
You need a max when you play over there. I have a hard time believing that Scotty's going to win at if the ultimate test is putting. That's his one weakness. True. And that is the part that gives me pause this week. Now, this is where the live split bothers me as a golf fan. This is a course that John Rahm and Cam Smith should absolutely feel at home at. Now we know Rahm has some sort of injuries going on with. We don't know. I have a Cam Smith ticket from January. Okay, I'll full disclosure. I have a Cam Smith ticket from January. Cam Smith has the best short game in the world, or I should say past tense, had. I don't know where he is now.
Yeah.
I just don't. You know, and I'm looking at again Kiowa, the runner-up, BK. Where is BK? Like, what was his issue at the Masters? Fine, he doesn't show up in Augusta. There's absolutely no reason that he should not have showed out at Valhalla. None.
I know.
And I'm looking at that going, and I just took another BK ticket because I can't give it up. But you know, that's what bothers me about Liv. I think if all these guys were dialed in and ready to go, I think we have a wide open field. But
I think Bryson's dialed in. I think
Bryson definitely is.
I think that's the one where you look at him and you look at the way he played at Augusta and then followed that up at Valhalla, and you're like, okay. Who, by the way, remember, was like a USAM winner. I mean, you know, obviously a US Open champion.
I'm about to drop on you.
Oh, let's go.
The reason I love my big boy is because he's won the Detroit Open before, which is a Ross course.
I've looked at the models say the 3M.
Okay.
The 3M Open is where you can go and do it.
Moving.
Rocket Mortgage, sir.
Moving on. Moving on. Folks, it is the Stay Ready Super Bowl this week in Pinehurst. Roback has you covered. Check out roback.com. Use that promo code OG20 to save 20% off your order. Even if you're not somebody who's going to be going to the US Open, even if you're not a golfer, those shorts,
I was going to say the shorts.
I'm wearing the shorts right now, the blue shorts. These are going to come in super handy when I'm in Florida. Just saying, super light, moisture wicking, all that fun stuff.
Roll back, you don't know me like that.
I don't think we can come up with a better promo than that. Thanks to Chip.
Save it.
Clip it, save it to the folks over at Roback. So go use that promo code OG20. And look, maybe you're just kind of like, oh my, I don't even know what to do for Father's Day. I don't even know. It's okay. Order something from Roback. It might not arrive in time, but you can print out what you ordered, put in a Father's Day card, and then say, hey, I've got Roback on the way. So check out roback.com. Big thanks to Hometown Realty for sponsoring Ovia's and Gilio. Do you want a baller ass home in the village of Pinehurst? They could probably help you out with that. Buy with confidence. Put you on the front burner for those types of things. You can go to myhtr.com. Again, that's myhtr.com. Tomorrow, I will be going to my neighborhood pool. And tomorrow, I will be throwing on the community grill. Ancient Family Ovia's fajita secret that I get from the Butcher's Market. Head on over to thebutchersmarket.com. Get your stuff. All sorts of pre-marinated meats for you to throw on the grill. Makes it super, super easy. They got the pre-made meals as well that are frozen. I can't recommend the 3-cheese ravioli enough. That actually is my new leader in the pasta clubhouse from the Butcher's Market.
You don't like pasta. You're not a pasta fan.
I like ravioli, though.
Okay, different.
Because I feel like ravioli, I like a little surprise.
Sure.
Like, oh, what's the filling today?
A Chuli's gum.
I enjoy that. And of course, I enjoy manicotti because it's just Italian enchiladas.
Yeah.
Big fan of the
I got flank steak the other day. I did something different.
Ooh, look at you. Look at you. Big fancy stuff. So again, go check them out. That is thebutchersmarket.com. Again, thebutchersmarket.com. You all ready for a little lighting round?
Lightning round.
What did the new version just for Chip?
I have. Have you heard the new version?
The country version.
Yeah, you've heard the country. Well, we have two versions of this. We got the yeehaw version from Ryan.
It's a lightning round. It's the lightning round.
We also have what he described as the lightning round sigh.
It's a lightning round.
Ooh, you hear that?
Yeah, that was Brian going, I can't believe Joe's got me doing this.
I feel like Brian had a little bit more plucking.
Yeah, a little more right here. Hold on. Yeah, you're right.
That's good plucking.
Yeah, he was definitely. Yeah, there was a little bit more picking there, man. That was good stuff.
Picking and grinning.
Indeed. All right, let's get to
lightning round item number 1.
I would like to thank Dan Hurley for making us look smart.
Oh man, that was good.
look, good on you, Dan Hurley. I think Jeff Goodman over at Field of 68 probably had the most hilarious roundup of what was going on with Dan Hurley. This is from the Field of 68 Daily, as they were rounding up all the things that they were saying that it wasn't about the money.
Oh, come on.
Per Jeff Goodman, UConn will give Hurley a 6-year, $50 million contract that'll place him just behind Bill Self and John Calipari as college basketball's highest paid coaches. There's also, the idea of the three-peat and everything else. And this is also from Goodman's reporting. According to my sources, Hurley flipped his decision. He may have flipped a couple of times. He has wrestled with this decision since Wednesday. This was not an easy decision, and this was not a money decision. I'm sorry, but money factors into this as always. And I can see why he might have flipped this, but I think at the end of the day, guys, this was always going to be the result. He was going to come back to UConn because say what you want about the Lakers. A, they weren't paying the most amount of money in the NBA. I know Matt Norlander, our friend over at CBS, your colleague, was pointing out that the Lakers' financial situation is not what we think it is.
And the idea that other insiders in the NBA don't think the Lakers is a good job.
Ding, 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 ding. Whoa. Because the roster is a mess. You have the LeBron factor as well and what he wants. And there's also this, look, if you are a competitor, there is an appeal to the three-peat. There just is. I'm sorry.
Well, it hasn't been done since John Wooden.
Right. So if you're already a Big East, and Big East Twitter was on one yesterday, man. They are the true sickos of college basketball.
Hey, they passed the blue blood test.
So now they're there.
That's right.
Yeah.
Brian
Ives. Shout out to Brian Ives.
Brian Ives, ACC Network did ask the question. The true blue blood test is if your guy decides to turn down the Lakers like Coach K did 20 years ago. And Roy, too. But Roy was a little more sneaky with it, but we discussed that. Now, but this was always the obvious choice. It was always the obvious choice. They were going to come up with the money.
I mean, so was Mike Elko not going to Texas. I know, but mind you, Jersey people, finally one of them came.
But you know what happened with Mike Elko and Chip? You can probably speak to this a little bit more. And actually, you guys talked about this on Cover 3, where I think Bud described it as a humble hire, a humble yourself hire with Mike Elko.
How so? I forgot.
In that, essentially, it was these guys said no.
Oh, right. Yes.
So it's like, okay, well, we can go in any number of directions. All right, fine. Let's go ahead and go get the guy who's going to give us an identity that's not sexy, but it's a football hire.
It's a high floor hire.
Yes. Elko brings the toughness. We know what he's going to do defensively. We know what their shtick is going to be. It's not flashy. It's not recruit. It's not any of these things. It's just a quote unquote, humble yourself. Let's focus on the football aspect of this with Mike Elko.
I thought that it was a good sign for the stock price of Mike Elko that all the power players who just like hit the alarms for hiring Kentucky's Mark Stoops were then placated by hiring Mike Elko. Because you could argue that what Mark Stoops has done at Kentucky and being able to establish a standard that is not just a few cocktail parties till basketball season, like that's a great coaching job, but you've got more confidence that Elko is going to be good. And that to me goes back to the conversations that he had with important people around College Station when he was defensive coordinator there. There is clearly a high level of respect, and having dealt with him here and, spoken to him, I'm not surprised that people were impressed by Mike Elko. He is an impressive person to sit down and talk to about building a program and about what you do on the football field.
This would be a good opportunity for me to point out that I invited Mike Elko to come have pizza with me. He turned me down.
Well,
the people who did eat pizza with me, one ended up in the Final Four, the other ended up in the College World Series.
That gets us to lightning round item number 2, aka
lightning round item number 2.
So who did you have pizza with in the first summer of this OG experience?
Elliot Avent.
Yeah.
College World Series. Kevin Keats, ACC Championship Final Four.
Who did we not have pizza with?
That we invited?
That you invited. And I even tried to work one particular coach.
Mike Elko and John Shire were the two that were specifically invited.
Now, I will make the argument that the John Shire thing was I think John Shire is down to do this. Unfortunately, Mike DeGeorge was in between jobs at that point. And I had something set up that we were going to...
You're the Duke Whisperer.
Apparently, John's got like this grill set up. We were going to bring over some butcher's market. Maybe he can grill pizza. Maybe we can bring Anthony over, that kind of thing. So I'm not going to throw John Shire in the same mix as, say, Mike Elko, who just straight up... Remember, Mike Elko was supposed to play Nintendo with us. And that dude took off for Texas A&M, all right?
I'm just saying, the mojo is real.
So you think there's a pizza mojo?
I think it's real.
So should we tell all the other coaches in the triangle if you want to have success?
I just did.
Okay. You think Hubert Davis will do it?
That would be funny. I hope he likes pizza. Roy doesn't like pizza.
I bet Brad will. Frederick?
Oh yeah, Brad, absolutely. Brad goes there.
Huh?
Brad goes there.
Does he?
Yeah.
Let's get Hubert to do pizza. Call up Roy. See if Hubert do it. I'm just saying.
Hubert used to come into La Russa's at Meadowmont, an Italian restaurant that I used to work at when I was in school over at North Carolina.
Nice.
He would come in after the pool in the summertime, order a couple spinach salads and some food for the kids, keep it moving. It was always very pleasant.
Lightning round item number 3, which ties in with 1983.
Oh no.
Which apparently has some people who are suing the NCAA for NIL money because we haven't milked 1983 dry yet? Okay.
So interesting in this story. Sorry, I got a little too caught up there in my lightning round voice because this story kind of cracks me up. This is from Jaden Watson Fisher over at the News and Observer. NC State Cardiac Pack basketball team, March Madness icon, sues NCAA for NIL earnings. I'm like, oh, you know what? That makes sense. But then I was sitting like, okay,
He thought it was 24.
Yeah, right. So I'm looking at this like, well, who's a part of this? I'm like, oh, I almost texted you before I read the whole story. I'm like, hey man, get Witt. Let's talk to Witt, see what he thinks about this. But then I'm looking at this. Plaintiffs in the case are Thurl Bailey, Alvin Battle, Walt Desmore, Tommy DiNardo, Terry Gannon, George McClain, Cozell McQueen, Walter Proctor, Harold Thompson, Mike Warren. I don't see Derek. I don't
Derek Whittenberg.
see Ernie Myers.
Sidney Lowe.
I don't see Sidney Lowe.
Yeah.
So I was kind of like, oh, this is not like a complete group effort. Now, look, I'm not trying to dismiss this because I think people understand that when it comes to March Madness and the Cardiac Pack, they're clearly part of the entire thing. Their imagery gets used all the time. But I'm really trying not to sound like an ass. So please tell me if I sound like an ass. I need both of you to check me.
Okay.
Please check me. Have we not milked this thing dry already? Like, if you haven't been able to monetize 1983 by now, what are we waiting on?
What are they asking for?
I guess it's about the NCAA
I would say money
Right.
and having used it and that all the kind of stuff. You know, I think this is the quote from the lawsuit. For more than 40 years, the NCAA and its co-conspirators have systematically and intentionally misappropriated the Cardiac Pack's publicity rights, including their names, images, and likeness associated with that game and that play, reaping scores of millions of dollars from the Cardiac Pack's legendary victory. And I'm sitting here thinking to myself, well, Derek Whittenberg's certainly taking advantage of that. I mean, we got an entire documentary about that whole thing, right? So I don't know. I just found this kind of interesting because there's been plenty of opportunities to monetize off this stuff, unless we're looking strictly from, as lead counsel. It's the Cinderella story of Cinderella stories. And I guess they're mad at the NCAA is trying to make some money off of that
Our
stuff.
friend Elliot Abrams testing his unbeaten record against the NCAA with this one. That's for sure.
Yes.
Do they own Survive in Advance?
I believe that's a Derek Whittenberg thing.
Right.
I don't know if he's trademarked it though.
I don't know. I can ask Kelly. She could probably look that up. Anyway, I just thought that was interesting. Best of luck to him. But I just thought to myself, man, I just feel like we're always talking about 1983 and that's your opportunity to monetize it. But I could be ignorant on that.
It could be illegal. They smell blood in the water
Perhaps.
with the NCAA.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
perhaps.
just like all of a sudden, like you get hey, like, did you have a cell phone from 2012 to 2014 made by this provider?
Yeah,
You could
there's
be
that.
entitled to, you know.
Yeah, well, that's a possibility.
I don't even know where we are in the lightning round.
Three.
This is four. The lightning round item number 4.
All right. This is going to be interesting. I'm putting this up on YouTube. If you're watching, I'll read it out. There is a bar in Omaha called Rocco's. They do a Jell-O shot challenge. I could tell you the last time I had Jell-O shots. It was at a July 4th celebration in 2020. Probably that was the last time when we had everybody at the place. Last summer? That's the last time you had Jell-O shots?
I've got a neighbor who throws like one big summer shindig, and somebody always brings over Jell-O shots.
So this place, Rocco's Jell-O shot challenge, is $5. You've got 4 ACC teams. You got 4 SEC teams. Of the ACC squads, I feel like this is most important for the ACC portion of this. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see the wonderful $50 ACC blanket that we acquired at the ACC tournament. in Washington, D.C. behind Chip Patterson. We got Florida State, Virginia, North Carolina, and NC State. Of those 4 schools, which one will drink and will consume the most Jell-O shots?
If Florida State does not win this competition, then it's rigged.
Just of the ACC schools, like we're going top.
No, all of them.
Whoa,
All of them.
I think
I'm impugning Tennessee, but
I think Tennessee is the one that's going to win. Tennessee is going to be the overall winner out of this group. Florida might be number 2.
boy, we are really close to the irate Giglio conference here, aren't we?
That is a hell of a division.
Get out of here with Virginia. Get the hell out of here. But the rest of those schools, they are definitely in the irate Giglio. Like Texas A&M and NC State should just sit next to each other and be like, yeah, man. Can you believe what Tech? I know, man. You should see like Carolina, their former AD was the commissioner for 20 years, man. Oh, yeah. Well, we were with Texas. They started their own network and they didn't let them have it. Hey, God, I want to be there for Texas A&M and NC State just commiserating with each other.
They are Spider-Man pointing
and
at
then Tennessee just being like, hey, man, like, why are you leaving us out? People have been shitting on us forever.
Have y'all ever partied in Knoxville?
Yes.
I have not.
And
It's awesome.
And I'm going to the Florida game this year.
In Knoxville?
Mhm.
Oh, that's going to be incredible.
Yes, 10-12.
Can we do an OG After Dark for that one? Because you're going to be shit-faced.
I'll be asleep.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe that's the case.
Have you guys seen Florida's schedule? Oh, no. You said you're not ready for that.
No, not football.
Yeah,
mode,
Joe sent me a reel from, I think it was a Rich Eisen show that he was already doing like win-loss.
The win-loss game.
I'm like, buddy.
The win-loss game, Chip.
Buddy.
He was having callers.
Phil Steele Digital just hit yesterday, so we're already taking him.
Chip, he had callers call in and go through the Jets schedule, and it was like a bit.
No,
Chip.
I'm good. I'm good on that.
Chip.
Yeah.
I'm good on that.
So Rocco's was devastated that North Carolina had that epic win against LSU because LSU
yes,
is just a
The king.
machine
Yeah.
when it comes to the Jell-O shot orders, both in terms of their ability to consume on an everyman level and also the power players that will come in and be like, yes, I'd like all of them.
Look, all I'm saying,
all of the ones in that cooler, I'd like to buy them all.
all I'm saying is that I saw one of the pitcher's moms go viral last night. The tweet has since been deleted, but I feel like that should give you an indication of just how wild NC State fans are going to be. So I'm actually going to go NC State to win the ACC division.
I mean,
it's different, man. It's a different feeling. It's a different feeling right now.
NC State can beat Florida State. Like that's like, as we're setting, I would say they're both co-favorites. And then you go North Carolina next, Virginia, DFL. And then in the other side, you probably go Tennessee. You go Texas A&M last.
Yeah.
I think it's Tennessee, Florida, and who's our third?
Kentucky.
Yeah.
Now, if you're telling me that everybody who's ever frequented the library on Franklin Street is going to be going to Omaha, then maybe North Carolina actually has a chance at this.
You got to factor in, these are rivals now who are there. So like
they're not going to want to lose. Chance. Here's the thing. There is no chance that NC State is going to lose to North Carolina.
But there is a chance because you could just go in and buy them. Like there could be some Stay Ready All-Star who goes in from Carolina and is like, hey,
remember last year,
I got all the boat money and I'm going to just buy.
Remember last year,
they're at Big Rock. We got Big Rock this week.
That's true.
They're not going to be out there.
Well, unless Michael Jordan.
Sorry, Chip. Sometimes I forget that you're.
Unless Michael Jordan comes through and says, look, those Jell-O shots will only be consumed if you make them with my tequila. That's the only way to make this happen. But look, I'm just saying, like, you're right. Anybody can buy these things. Remember, Wake Forest had a lot of proxy Jell-O shot purchases.
Yeah, because the board was embarrassing.
It was pretty embarrassing. And I'm sure that
when Ben Sutton and Mitt come in and go,
Mitch.
Whoa.
And I'm guessing Josh Graham probably threw like a couple shots.
Josh
maybe.
Yeah.
Is Josh going?
What, to this?
Yeah.
I mean, Joe might.
Yeah.
You might go to Omaha?
Yeah.
Nice. Love that.
You and Josh Graham get a room? Because I'm not going to be there.
No. Josh won't go.
You think Josh is a snorer?
Yeah.
Do you think he can put up with your snoring?
No.
Because the minute your eyes close, dude, like the spaceship is taking off.
It's over.
Like, what is that? It's a takeoff? All right. So,
God, what a list, man.
That is a hell of a list.
That is the irate Giglio conference.
Get
rid of Virginia. We did it.
Yeah.
Put a West in front of that Virginia.
Then we're good.
That is the IRA
Then we're
Jillian
good.
Conference.
Lightning round item number 5, I think. Yeah, 5.
Chip, you love how fast the lightning round is.
We're
That's how
going, man.
That's how it got its name.
So, have you taken part in the Caitlin Clark discourse yet?
No.
Oh, welcome to the party.
Oh, buddy.
Here we go.
Oh, buddy. Before we take a hockey break, because we do have to take a hockey break.
Yeah, we do.
Chip can check me on this because you've known me for a long time. As I've gotten older, I've tried to get out of my old cynical ways.
Mhm.
You know this about me.
Yeah. Growth.
That's what I'd like to think too. But there are things kind of like Godfather Part 3 where I feel like Al Pacino, and it's like every time I think I'm out of the cynical phase, something happens and they bring me back in. Okay. And I feel like the Caitlin Clark discourse
was terrible, by the way.
It really was. It's awful.
Need some more kernel.
Me back in. Anyway, game of inches.
There it is. That's better.
That's
That
much
was
better.
Like a lizard.
Put that back in your mouth, man. You look like a lizard.
Even better. We're getting closer to your Pacino.
Yeah,
Your peak Pacino.
because nothing says Cuban immigrant quite like an Italian actor.
Or Razor Ramon playing
You want to be the bad guy,
Scott Hall.
right? Anyway,
Can't believe you never do that.
that Razor Ramon
Scott
was
Hall
supposed to be a Cuban guy.
No, it was supposed to be Scarface.
I never knew because
Yeah.
again, I wasn't a WCW guy.
WWF.
And was he WWF or WCW?
WWF.
Oh, okay, then I must have been out of pocket at that point. Anyway,
Where was I? Al Pacino.
Al
Caitlin
Pacino.
Clark.
Let's get back to Caitlin Clark. I made the mistake of consuming.
This is what happens on Tuesdays, Chip. You know this.
Well,
Anybody can podcast on a Monday.
When,
but Tuesdays?
when y'all talked about a rotating circle of friends a couple weeks ago, I was
Yeah.
like, yeah, I'm going to get called.
You're gonna get the call. Yeah, welcome to
I'm,
Tuesday.
I'm coming into Tuesdays.
Yeah,
Let's
welcome to
go.
Tuesday.
Hey, and look, it works for my schedule because Cover 3 podcast Monday, Wednesday, Thursday at 11 a.m.
I know
so,
your broadcast
yeah.
schedule, but I try not to be cynical about these things. And I've gotten to the point now, and this is really based off of Christine Brennan's reporting in her column and the way that she's been doing all these media hits. And like yesterday, she tweets out like, "I even did a hit in New Zealand, and they're incensed." I'm like, I don't give a shit what New Zealand thinks. The question comes down to: does Caitlin Clark deserve a spot on a roster that has won 7 straight gold medals? To answer that question, does she deserve a spot on a stacked roster that wins gold medals?
Yeah, every single Olympic team of my lifetime has had at least one or two, like, I don't know, sure,
Why not, right?
Sure, why not?
And in her case, no, because every argument about her, and I think Christine Brennan is the one who's beaten the drum the most, is that, well, think of the marketing opportunity. I think there was a debate on First Take yesterday about marketing, and it's like, man, I don't know about y'all, but like, the NBC has plenty of storylines for the Olympics. This is just adding fuel. This is adding another log on the fire. I get that stuff, but it's like NBC should be doing a good enough job promoting the fact that this women's team dominates. You don't need Caitlin Clark for that. And I just think about 2 years ago when Iowa lost in the national championship, and there was this push to invite both teams to the White House. From that point on, there's been a concerted effort to make Caitlin Clark the face of women's basketball. And there are people who have been in the freaking trenches, out in the content fields, like you like to talk about. It's an honest work, right?
Hard day out there on the North 40.
But you know what? It's honest work, honest living, if you can make it. And a lot of folks who have been tied to college, to women's basketball in particular, look at this and go, no, we are not going to make this person the face of women's college basketball. You can do it. We're not. And I think it really does boil down to that. And I actually do not blame people for pushing back on this, because there was a lot of folks who don't really give a shit about women's basketball who want to make Caitlin Clark the only reason why the WNBA should even exist. And it's like, no, it's insulting. And we would never talk about this with any other athlete.
So, isn't it true that we got a report yesterday that she's the first alternate?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah,
Somebody's going to drop out.
Wait till that turned ankle in training camp all of a sudden like puts her on a plane to Paris.
But then it's only going to create the thing that Christine Brennan talked about and the USA Basketball worried about, is that, okay, she makes the team, but what are the minutes going to be?
And
then people are going to lose their shit over that.
I really think that in the way that we consume the Olympics, and this might be like my own biased opinion, I don't think basketball in general has been the draw.
No, it hasn't.
I think
it's
that
Ledecky.
I think that you go like swimming, gymnastics. Like it is the stuff that we don't see
basketball
all the
and it.
time. I don't think that even basketball fans, basketball writers, basketball media.
Golf, Chip. I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh yeah, it's all about
Hey,
golf.
hey, look, was that Ricky?
Fowler.
Yeah, the Ricky Fowler tattoo.
Jeez.
But it's track and field. Like I think about the Olympics for those other events, and I think that the way that the Olympics are presented to an American audience at this point, probably because of the dominance and success all the way back to the 90s, has led to a little bit of like like nobody's watching group stage, sweating it.
Nobody's doing
You're
that.
a great altruist. I wish I had your optimism. I think of the Olympics. I think of corruption. I think of cheating. I think of slave labor. I think of dilapidated facilities 30 years later that no one uses.
It was presented. And I cover college sports. Do you know how much compromising I have to do all the time?
Ethical compromising.
The Olympics are worse.
For the lightning round. But we're not quite done yet because now it's time.
Ow.
That's true. The lightning round's going even longer because now, folks, it's time for a hockey break.
Let's take a break. Let's take a hockey break. Brought to you by Happy and Hill.
Shout out to Happy and Hale. Check them out. Locations across the triangle.
Move us around.
North Hills. What are we trying to do here?
Well, we keep blocking.
I know we keep
ads.
blocking things. Hold on a second. Let me hold on a second.
Maybe
Let me
not.
remove. No. Hold on a second. Go back to that.
Oh, whoa.
Go back to what we're doing.
There we go.
No, that's
No,
not
blocks
it.
it still.
That's not it. Hold on a second. Let me just do this. Remove check.
Oh, there we go.
There it is. There's Happy and Hale. Go check them out. North Hills, Six Forks, location out in Durham. Download the app. Get your free smoothie. That's what it's all about. Do you get one on your birthday?
Yeah, you get one for free when you sign up for the app. And they don't, no, for your birthday, you get a free salad,
Yes.
a bowl.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, that's what you get for your birthday. Just for signing up for the app, you get a free smoothie.
Did McLovin get a free salad on his birthday?
I was really rooting for Warren Fogili to be thrown out on McLovin's birthday, but we were so close. man.
Warren Fogle?
Warren
Yeah,
Fogle, the
so-
Oilers player, eponymously named for the character in Superbad.
Yes.
Warren Fogle always has a place. You cannot just tie him to Superbad. He has a place in my heart for what he did in 2019.
Capitals.
I get all that. I get all that.
Fogili
So Fogile ends up
plays for the Oilers.
He plays
now.
for the Oilers
Kicked out of the game
now.
last night.
It was a bad sequence. He gets the major, he gets ejected, all that stuff. And it was so close. It was yesterday, it was 6/10.
Yeah, it was a week
June
late.
10th. But McLovin's birthday from Superbad, if you're not familiar, like, who the hell is McLovin? Because we have to remember that people are older now. It was this movie called Superbad. It was
The character's name was Warren Fogle.
Is Fogle.
Yeah.
And he was underage and he needed to get booze to have a party, all with, the teenage desire of finally getting laid. So all that's played out. But the fake ID that he got, California license.
No,
Hawaii.
No, Hawaii. Thank you. It was a Hawaii driver's license and it just said McLovin on it. And the birth date for McLovin was June 3rd. So close.
So close.
So close for all that happening on the same day. So close. Anyway, the Panthers are up 2-0.
Yeah, my Panthers in 6 prediction. Oof, needs a little help.
Needed it last night. Like
think
when it was
so.
1-0. I heard you say that. I ended up jumping in at 475. It wasn't quite the 500,
Yeah.
but I was like, ooh, I like
like
that.
that.
Yes.
And we're going to talk to Luke DeCock about this a little bit more tomorrow. According to Frank Saravalli from Daily Faceoff, he was the first to report this on Monday. Eric Tulsky, this is my shocked face. Eric Tulsky will have the interim tag come off. He will be the new general manager for the Carolina Hurricanes.
But not the president.
Ding, 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 ding,
Yes,
ding, 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 ding.
Let's go.
That's the part that I'm most curious about. I think everybody understood that Tulsky was going to be the dude who was going to be elevated to general manager. I think we all understood that. He's clearly wanted across the league. He's, flirted with the idea of leaving for another team. I get all that stuff. Actually, Chip, Tulsky's story should give you hope as a humble CBS blogger at the start, now moderator of various podcasts. You too can run an athletic department, just like Eric Tulsky went from blogging about hockey to running a team.
I would prefer search firm.
Ooh, no, that's the hustle.
Yeah, the Cover
That's
3
fat.
search
Yeah,
firm.
man.
We've been making.
That's
We
the
will
hustle, man.
undercut everyone.
Yes, you're gonna have to compete with me and Gilio,
Yeah.
because we're also in that hustle too. No, so Tulski's going to be the general manager. We all kind of understood that was going to be the case. The question is, who's going to be the front-facing person for the Carolina Hurricanes? It'll be Justin Williams.
Fish Bates. We call our search firm Master Bates. With an I.
I think the Cardinals hit.
No, listen, did you know that back in the day, there was because like there's different activities at summer camp, and there's different like ranks, like your first thing is like your outboard operator for motorboating. Then you get your bosun. There are fishing ranks, and there's like the first one's like angler, and there's only like 3 fishing ranks.
I got it.
Yeah.
And for a long time, the old rank books had one of the highest fishing ranks as Master space baiter.
Mm-hmm.
BAITER.
Hey, man.
If you are the master at baiting the hook, then yeah, you are the master baiter.
Hey, man, 1996, 1997 Jovias. I hit that rank. I hit that rank for sure. Frosting was healthy. Anyway,
It's the end of the lightning.
it's the end of the lightning round.
We're done with the lightning round. All right, Chip, get out of here, man.
All right.
You can answer some Hey Joe.
Hey, you want to stick around for Hey Joe?
Sure.
All right, actually, you can get into some therapy with Hey Joe because, oh man.
Probably.
Well, we have to honor some corporate champions first.
I'll do the thing again.
Oh yeah, let me remove Chip from here from the YouTube. Big thanks to Two Roosters. Check them out, tworoosters.com. They've got a rotating selection of flavors. I feel like, oh yeah, you're on your animal cracker thing, right?
Iced animal crackers.
Hey man.
So that's from Leanne, right?
Yeah.
She said she dropped him off.
Yeah, because for what Chip just referenced, Leanne, who's Finally Barbershop across the hall from us here at Eford Studios. She's kind of like the den mom, and she takes care of us. Like straight up, she takes care of us.
She said Wednesday's grocery nights.
She takes great joy in providing for her 2 boys down the hall. And apparently Joe wants animal crackers. I just asked for water. That's all I'm looking for, man. That's all I'm looking for. But if you want animal crackers in your ice cream, well, Two Roosters can do that for you. So check them out.
Dough.
Get that Two Roosters, tworoosters.com. Shout out to the OG of the OG. That is Mosquito Authority and Pest Authority. They actually came out to the house last week. You can pay as you go if you want. There's no contracts. I like to do the bundle thing. And you can also combine and save at bugsbite.com. You can get your outside done with Mosquito Authority. Keep that stuff in check. Get Pest Authority for the inside of your house and save a lot of money. And speaking,
I haven't asked Hayes yet if I could sleep on his floor at Omaha, but that might be coming.
Yeah, that might actually be the case. You can have a blanket of signs. You can sleep on a pack of signs. Speaking of saving money, Matt Davis at State Farm can save you money on your home and auto. Check them out online at insuregarner.com or call them directly at 919-779-8277. So again, that's Matt Davis over at State Farm, theoginsurance.com.
Yeah, I went to the town yesterday thanks to Matt and Douglas from Self Storage Units in Garner. Check them out. Yeah, the podcast call in.
Big thanks to Crank Arm Brewing for sponsoring Hey Joe, sponsoring us. We were actually at Crank Arm yesterday. I'm going to have a conversation with Adam Eschball on the 919 Vice podcast this week about what we checked out last night at Crank Arm about Thrive and Revive.
Oh, Adam's super passionate.
As you should be. There's a really bad narrative about downtown Raleigh that needs to change.
I wonder where that comes from.
I know some of the culprits that kind of add to if it bleeds, it leads.
Our former employer.
Oh no, it's raining. We have to send out alerts. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. It's all about making sure that downtown Raleigh takes some big risks, some big swings, which I'm actually very in favor of. And I'll talk about it a little bit more on 919 Vice this week. In the meantime, go support. I'm like breaking things over here.
I had the Hawaiian Punch seltzer yesterday.
I also know you.
I liked it.
I also know you. I got you that strawberry shortcake.
Strawberry Fields Forever.
Yeah,
strawberry
strawberry something forever.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Strawberry shortcake forever. That was the name.
Good.
I knew you would be all about that. Not big on the ABV. I think it was 4.75.
Super light. Yeah.
And you're a little bit of my girl drink drunk, and you enjoyed that one.
Yeah.
So anyway, check out crankarmbrewing.com. All right, Chip Patterson's back. He never left. We've been doing welcome to the league moments. We aired a couple yesterday, and I thought
Chip's gonna like this.
I thought I was gonna move on.
This is radio-y stuff. This is some summer, middle of summer. We're desperate mode. We got to get something going.
It's not Dimitri's binder of radio bits.
That's a whole nother level.
It's
but Chip can appreciate that.
No, it's as I told you, I like it a lot.
Oh, I know. So the OG Sports phone was active. We got some late submissions yesterday. I think some people were inspired by the ones that we did.
When he does that, he means it, by the way. That's not him being Radio Joe.
What?
When you're like, the phone lines.
Phone lines are just active, buddy.
Popping.
So you can text the OG Sports phone if you want it. 919-444-2211. So we got a text. Chip, you tell me if this sounds familiar. It's the fall of 2010.
Oh.
I got a graduate assistantship in the Auburn athletic department in compliance.
Oh no.
Great season to be in compliance at Auburn.
I thought I'd be on the sideline at games, traveling with the team, etc. And eventually I did get to do some of that stuff. But a month or so into my assistantship, the Cam Newton scandal hit. And for 2 weeks, my job was to go through the hard copy phone records of the entire Newton family. Every call, every text, looking for 2 or 3 specific phone numbers of folks who were allegedly involved in shopping Cam to Auburn and Mississippi State, looking for a needle in a fucking stack of needles. That went on for freaking ever. So anyway, Cam's dad didn't do anything, and that's how I know. LOL. So there you go. That was from...
Do you remember the...
Is that my guy, Steve?
I'm not saying who it was.
Oh, okay.
Statue, even though it's been 14 years, I don't want to get anybody in trouble.
Do you remember the alleged quote from Cecil Newton in the hotel room with the Mississippi State people?
I don't remember.
He puts his hands, he sits down. It's like one of the hotel rooms, the way that I understand it.
Yeah.
And this is rumor, is that it's one of those hotel rooms with 2 double beds.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're sitting on one, he's sitting on the other. He sits down, he puts his hands on both legs and goes, "So we fucking know what?"
Yes. Thank you. Now it's all coming back to me. Now I remember that quote. Do you have a welcome to the league moment?
So when you first mentioned it, I was trying to think about what it was, and it's not as much of like because I thought at first I would be able to recall a coach like putting me down. You know, I thought I'm sitting there and trying to come up with what I think is a good question, and he makes me act stupid.
Yeah.
But there were a lot of those in the early years.
Oh yeah. Dude.
So this was the one that I came up with. It is the Orange Bowl at the end of the 2011 season, which would be West Virginia against Clemson. It would be the fly sweep with Tavon Austin that led to a 70-33 beatdown, and Dabo Swinney firing Kevin Steele and then hiring Brent Venables afterwards. But because of the game and how long it was with all those touchdowns and everything else, I mean, it doesn't end until like 1:32 in the morning. And this was my second full season with CBS. I'd been sort of used to going into the locker room and just really doing all the things that you could do. You know, all the opportunities, gather as much as you can, write real late in the press box. And then I'm trying to get out of what I guess was then either Landshark or Sun Life Stadium.
Yeah, it was Landshark at the time.
In the middle of nowhere, Miami Gardens.
Yep.
And I'm walking around and I make a wrong turn. And then I make another wrong turn. Ugh. And all of a sudden I'm lost in the bowels. And
it's like we're in the Marlins bullpen.
And I know that the next bus is the last bus.
Mm-hmm.
And when I finally get to the spot that is the drop off for the media, I see the bus pulling away. So you have never seen a pair of loafers move so fast through a parking lot. Side satchel bag, bouncing along my hip, full speed, catch up with the bus, banging on the side of the bus. Holly Anderson was there. Patrick Southern, who used to cover West Virginia, was on there. And like when they finally stop and they get on, the whole bus is like, "Hey!" And they're like, "Yeah, your initial get off speed wasn't great, but I was really surprised at your motor once you finally got it going." So after that moment, have been much more aware of the shuttle exit times at such events, because for a split second there, I was going to be left begging security to somehow take me back to the media hotel, which was all the way in like Fort Lauderdale by the beach.
Yeah, dude, that is not an easy drive.
Yeah, so that my welcome to the league moment was not as much of like a put down or anything else. It was just me realizing that when you're at these events, be very knowledgeable at the time because you will get left.
So we had another call for welcome to. I mean, the reason why we were talking about it was because of Caitlin Clark and her constant reminders of welcome to the league. I thought this one was interesting.
Hi, Joe and Joe. This is Jeannie from Fuquay, longtime listener. I have my welcome to the industry story. I worked for WABC TV Eyewitness News in the New Jersey Bureau and Hackensack Yak Yak. I was on the assignment desk, and one day I get a phone call from a man with a Middle Eastern accent claiming to be from the Palestinian Liberation Organization, the PLO. He said there was a bomb in my building that would be detonated if there wasn't $2 million in a duffel bag left by the door leading to the back parking deck by the end of the day. My heart is pounding. I'm practically ripping the phone out of the wall, tripping over the cord, crapping my pants as I try to get the assignment editor's attention. Then I'm here laughing on the other end of the phone. It was a guy from the New York Bureau punking me, laughing his ass off. What a dick. What a welcome to the industry. Love your show. Thank you.
Holy shit!
No,
That was a wide range of emotions.
yeah,
No, absolutely
That's
not.
Horseshit.
that's awful.
Obviously a pre 9/11 moment as well.
Oh, yes, it is.
Good hazing is when Brett McMurphy made Matt Hinton stand on a table and sing his alma mater of his, sing the fight song of his alma mater because he said, "We've all done it." Of course, none of us had done it at the time.
Yeah.
Like that's not like that's bad hazing.
That's terrible.
That's terrible hazing.
Also, Matt Hinton's a name I haven't thought of in a long time. How is Matt doing these days?
I
No clue?
hope well. Yeah,
I hope
Matt's
Matt.
with my guy Chris Wright, Saturday Down South.
Is he?
Yeah.
I didn't realize Matt was still right. I always enjoyed Matt's writing.
Yeah.
All right. Last on the OG Sports phone. Last on the Hey Joe. You ready to do a little Ovius therapy?
Yeah.
There's pack therapy. So we've heard.
I haven't heard this.
This is some Ovius therapy.
Okay.
Hi, Joe. This is your brother calling. With Father's Day coming up, I just wanted to rant about how our dad handles emergent planning and potential surprises. So, as you know, you guys are all coming down to Florida over the next week or so. And with Father's Day coming up, I figured, you know what? If he's going to be out at the beach a couple hours away, maybe I'll come pay him a visit. So I call him thinking that, he'll be happy for me to join him because you'll be down in the Keys for your respective Father's Day with your kids. But no, he had to make it this whole complicated thing. Like, oh, well, if you're driving 3 hours, do you need a hotel room? Like, you should get a hotel room if you're going to come in the evening. We'll be at the beach all day, so, you should bring your bathing suit. So I'm like, okay, hey, do you want me to, bring pub subs or whatever, bring beach gear? He's like, no. Pub subs, I can't eat at the beach. We're going to this specific restaurant. Of course, it's as I'm driving to work, thinking I'm writing stuff down. I'm like, Dad, I'm driving. You can text it to me later. So anyway, just wanted to kind of rant about how me wanting to surprise my dad for Father's Day to come and visit him for the day turned into a whole planning ordeal. More of an inconvenience for him rather than a gift. Anyway, see you next week. Bye.
David is approaching 30, and he still hasn't learned that our father does not deal well with surprises.
Was it the Beefmaster trip that he lost it?
Lost his shit. This was last summer.
Yeah, why would he?
Because he needs to know. He wants to plan. Also, remember, this is the same person, my dad, who will gift himself something from a dead relative.
From the Nino.
El Nino.
Yeah.
El Nene. All right. Yes, that's right. The concept of my baby brother. Not adult brother, but the baby, the spirit of the baby of my brother.
Yeah, Hernando.
Look, you discovered
I know.
this.
We got him this awesome Miami bomber jacket from Home Field.
But because he didn't ask for it,
yeah,
he was a little weird about it. Now he's worn it.
I think we did see him wear it at the basketball game, so I was happy about that.
He wore it. Yeah, but you're referencing the Beefmaster story again. This happened his last birthday.
He just likes to do things his way.
He likes to do things his way. He does not do things well when you try to surprise him. So he stopped doing it. But my dad is also big Leo energy here in that he's very into his birthday.
The actual sign or Uncle Leo from Seinfeld.
and not his buddy Leo. So my dad's got that big Leo energy where his birthday is going to be this huge extravaganza. We call it the Feast of the P.O.P.O. The POP, that's another story. We don't have to. We're already at like an hour 33, so that's another story for another day.
This is actually 2 shows today.
It kind of is.
We're not doing a show tomorrow.
We are actually because we have bills to pay. We'll keep it short though. Yeah, we got Luke coming on tomorrow.
We got a lot. We got a lot to get to.
We do have a lot to get to.
We got so much, man.
So my dad's all about steaks. So we're like, cool. Let's take. We've been to the Peddler. We've been to all these other places. He's never been to the Beef Master.
Squeeze at the Peddler. Squeeze. Hey, is this good? Squeeze.
By the way,
I love the Peddler.
By the way, Nature's Relief. In that same shop.
Been knowing that.
So we all pile in the car and we start driving, and he would not shut the fuck up.
Come on, now it's Father's Day on Sunday.
And
be sweet.
No.
No, wait a second. Our ACC tournament was from Hernando.
No, I get that, but that's all part of the deal. This is all part of the deal. No, so anyway, so he's like, at one point he said, "Are you taking me to the beach?" I'm like, no, we are not driving to the beach.
Because you were driving in that direction.
We're not driving that direction. He thought we were taking him to the Outer Banks, some seafood restaurant. I'm like, no. Oh, you taking me to a Mudcats game? No, we are not eating at Cattails, the restaurant.
Nothing wrong with that.
And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, they do a great job. No, we're not taking you to a Mudcats game. We drove past 5 County Stadium and everything else. He would not shut up. It was a miserable experience. That hour drive out to the Beefmaster, but
isn't it delicious?
Do you want to do the show from the Beefmaster?
Yeah, if they'll have us.
No, I don't
conflict with anything we do.
No, it doesn't conflict. It doesn't conflict with anything. No, it doesn't conflict with anything. I'm just saying, like, that's the thing that we can just set up the equipment and do a show from that and tailgate. Chip, you down for that?
But I mean, yeah, if it works out,
you want to go to the Beefmaster?
Has to be a Tuesday for Chip.
Yeah, we just got to arrange, all the transportation necessary for Punt and Pooch.
I mean,
to get here.
What is Punt and Pooch?
Oh, my kids.
Oh,
Tom Fernelli calls my 2 sons Punt and Pooch.
Nice.
So
aren't they Quad and Cinco?
They are quad. Well, oldest is named after me. Youngest is named after Parker. So
okay, there you go. Here's the thing: do we not hit up Sleek Fleet?
What is Quad?
Huh?
What do we call Quad?
Chase.
Like
Yeah.
do we want to get Sleek Fleet?
Hold on. What is your real name?
Huh?
What is your real name?
Carl.
Yeah. Shout out to Carl.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
You know that? Oh.
So of the 4 Carls,
you and
only
Carl
one
Torbush needed to be like close. Were you in school when Carl Torbush was the coach?
No.
Chip's not that old.
I'm younger than that.
Yeah.
It's the hair that
don't
of the 4 Carls, my father is the only one who among friends is Carl.
Yeah.
Grandfather was Pat,
I was going to say.
And then I'm Chip, and then Chase.
Okay.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah. Chase, that's a great one.
Because Raleigh's a small town. Carl was Kelly's boss at one point.
Your dad?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
How about that?
Your dad's a lawyer?
Yes.
Oh, cool.
So there you go. Anyway,
we just went through the whole family tree.
We really did. All right. So Sleek Fleet Beefmaster show.
Yeah. Sleek Fleet will be all over that.
Let's do it, man. Chip, you're in?
Yeah.
We'll get Brinson out too.
We have to keep the mic away from him.
No. I will have a secure mic for Brinson.
Secure the mic.
I will have a secure mic with a shock mount.
What if we give him a fake mic and then put a boom mic over top that can actually capture the audio, but just let him have a play?
We go full Bobby Bowden.
Let's go. I'm excited about it. Anyway, we'll see y'all later, folks.